best diet for getting back in shape fast. And this is the first in a two-part series where I'm going to be talking to you about getting back into training after having a training break. Now this video is going to be focused more on the nutrition side of things, and the next video is going to be focused more on the training side of things. Both videos are going to be targeted towards my target audience, which is skinny guys trying to bulk up, those hard gainers that struggle to put on weight and muscle. It's going to be for you, so it can be as detailed as possible. I don't want it to be too broad and talk about all the different aspects. It's going to be laser focused on skinny guys that are trying to bulk up, my own journey. Now I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that I've been training from the age of 4 years old and never had any days off, because that is a complete lie. Of course I've had days off, and I've had even breaks from the gym, especially in my late teens, early 20s. I, was off the gym for several months, then back on, then off and on and on. And so I've got a bit of experience with getting back into training, so I know how to do it and also the ways in which you can get it to work in your advantage. So I'm going to share that with you, and hopefully you're going to find it useful. One last thing before we get into it is, if you haven't done so already, please jump down and hit the subscribe button if you like the content. I'm seeing some channels and some videos with terrible content that have got way more views and subscribers than me. Now I'm not going to name anybody, but I literally watched a video the other day of a guy who was bulking, and his advice was to have a Nutella wrap and then have a dairy milk bar for lunch. And yet he had 500,000 views and 150,000 subscribers. I mean, what the hell was going on? Come on, if you like the content, please jump down and hit the subscribe button. It's going to help me to be able to create more content for you. Now, if you've had a break from training, then you will have lost muscle mass, most likely, especially for a prolonged period of time. And there is a chance that you have put on some body fat, although being a hard gainer, you have probably actually lost body fat and you're therefore getting smaller and smaller. And if you have put on a little bit of body fat, it's not going to be a lot, because I know how difficult it is for you lot to put on weight, as I'm one of those hard gainers myself. So I can understand that you've probably just shrunk in the time that you've been off. If you've done no training, your diet's probably stopped as well, so you'll just go back to your normal set point of being very slim. But that's not a problem. Even if you put on a small amount of body fat, the process, I think, is going to still be exactly the same for us. Now, as I touched on in another video, how to work out after quarantine, which I'll put a link in the description below, I'll talk about something called mind-muscle connection, and how when you go back to the gym and try to rebuild muscle that you've lost, it will happen so much faster, and it is an amazing and magical thing. And it will literally happen before your eyes. You'll go to the gym, you'll work out, you'll get that pump, and then that pump will almost never go away. You'll wake up the next morning, you'll think that you're still pumped from the gym. It's incredible, and literally before your eyes you will see the growth happen. Now it does sadly stop, and it does come to a point when you then will grow muscle at the usual rate, but for those first 2-3 weeks you're going to see yourself grow, and it is going to be unbelievable. But there are a few things that you need to do with your nutrition in order to make sure that you capitalize on that and see the benefits and happen quickly. It comes down to two parts: your calories and your protein. Now, as people who have watched my videos before, you'll know that I think these are the only two macros you actually need to focus on for what we're trying to build. But nonetheless, what do you need to do with them? So we'll start with protein. Your protein intake should always be, whether you're cutting, maintaining or bulking, should always look to have 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of body weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you should be having 200 grams of protein a day. And I would set that as your minimum, because yes, you can go over, and there's going to be a point where you're having too much protein and it can cause a problem. Like, of anything, far too much of anything can cause a problem, but that figure is going to be so high, don't worry about it. You're just probably not going to be able to consume that amount of protein. So set that as your minimum, and that's a very good target to aim for, is your 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of body weight. In and around that is perfectly fine, but I would look at it as a minimum, and if you go slightly over, not a problem at all. So one other thing to mention on the protein side of things is meal timing. Now, normally I would say for what we're trying to do, meal timing isn't that important. Yeah, you want to fuel your workouts, you want to eat in and around your workouts, but apart from that, it's not too important for what we're trying to do. But when we're trying to take advantage of this muscle memory, I would encourage you to try and spread out your protein throughout the day as much as you can. So evenly split it out. You want to be making sure that your muscles are fed with enough protein so they can adapt, because they're not going to necessarily have the calories, which we'll come on to in a minute. So you need to make sure that they've got constant fuel in protein in order to grow. So I would encourage you to evenly spread your protein out throughout the day if you can. Now onto the calorie side of things. Because we are going to be in this very unique space where we are able to build muscle and burn fat at the same time because of this muscle memory that we're activating, I would say there is absolutely no need to go over your maintenance calories for the first 2 to 3 weeks you're back in the gym. But what are your maintenance calories? Well, you can do measurements and calculations to work out pretty much exactly what your calories would be. It's not an exact science, but it gives you a very accurate way of trying to understand what your maintenance calorie levels are. If you wanted to do that, then I'll put a link in the description below where you can go and measure yourself and work it out and find out exactly. But to give you a pretty accurate ballpark figure, because I'm assuming that most people watching this are going to be, you know, skinny guys bulking, that your body fat percentage is fairly low anyway. So a good way to work out what your maintenance calorie level will be is to take your body weight in pounds and times it by 16. So for me, 200 pounds times by 16 gives me 3,200. So that is my maintenance calorie levels. That is the amount of calories I can consume and I won't lose weight and I won't put on weight. So that is what I think you should do when you first get back to the gym, because your body is gonna remember the size it used to be, and as soon as you start putting resistance training in there, it's gonna adapt rapidly and your muscles are gonna grow in order to compensate for the resistance training. But it doesn't need the fuel in the calories in order to do that, because it remembers, that muscle memory remembers the size it was. So it's not like you need to feed yourself with calories as you normally would do when bulking in order to create that adaptation. It already knows it, and that's why we call it muscle memory. So the calories aren't as important. So keep your calories at maintenance level, so then you will not be adding fat. If anything, you'll be burning fat because you're now adding training. So it's a magical space. Build muscle and burn fat, and you can eat your maintenance calorie levels. It's a dream position to be in. Now, after 2 or 3 weeks of passing, you've seen yourself physically grow in the mirror as you're training. Then it's time to increase your calories again in order to continue building muscle. Don't do it crazy though. Don't all of a sudden go, right, 3 weeks is up, I'm gonna increase my calories to a silly level. Don't do it like that. I would say that after you've, benefited from muscle memory after 2 or 3 weeks, then increase your calories, so you go from your maintenance up by 10% for, I'd say, around a week, and then after that week's passed, increase it by another 10%. So in total you'd be increasing from your maintenance calories 20%. Now don't go above 20% surplus, because you can only build muscle at a certain rate, and feeding it with more and more calories doesn't equal bigger and stronger muscles. It doesn't work like that. What you will be doing is just adding on more and more body fat. So don't go above 20%, because then you're going to get yourself too fat and overweight, and to then do the cut and get yourself looking good afterwards is going to be that much harder. You're going to have to do it for so much longer, and you'll probably end up then losing all the gains that you made anyway. So make sure that you don't go above that 20% surplus, because it's going to make the cutting part, which is the sexy part of it all, it's going to make that difficult or possibly even impossible to do. So not above 20%. So that is my view on what you should do with your nutrition when you're getting back into training after a training break. In summary, protein, 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of body weight always, and try to evenly spread it out throughout the day. Calories, stay on your maintenance level of calories, so your body weight times in pounds times by 16 for 2 to 3 weeks, then increase it by 10% for a week, and then a further 10% for the following week, and so on until you finish your bulk. So hopefully that all made sense, and it's going to help you to get back in the gym and start lifting some weight and start looking good again. And what else did I want to say? No, I think that was it. Oh, part 2 is coming up. That will be out in a few days, and that's going to be talking all about the training. And actually by the time you've watched this, you may already be out, so go and check out, see if it's there. I'll put a link in the description if it's already available, and subscribe if you want to see more content, and hit the like button if you thought this video was useful. Thank you so much for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Bye.